open grand PSF is trending around the range of 1,003.
When we convert it to a 3 plus flexi, it's actually about 5.15 in terms of length.
Step 2, 3 and 21, they are 5 bedders. They face internally towards the pool.
Welcome to PropertyLimBrothers new launch review series, and today we are bringing you all the way to the east at Tampines, and we are going to review Aurelle of Tampines. Let's take a look at the location first. So location, I think this is in an area where a lot of people are familiar with, which is in the heart of Tampines, but this is not right at the center of Tampines. This is in fact a new township of Tampines. So what we're going to do is going to bring you through the location, and this is the broader kind of landscape view. So where we have here is Aurelle of Tampines, which is circled right over here in blue. And if you're going to just take you through what is happening in and around this area, this entire cluster is what we call the Tampines North enclave, which is a brand new township. And right beside us is where you have Tenet EC, which has already launched. And of course, what is coming up right in the immediate vicinity is Parktown, which is one of the biggest talk of the town. We're going to touch a little bit more later on. But of course, if you want to find out more about Parktown, click on the link down below to watch one of our review for Parktown residences. When we talk about this area, this is just right segregated from Pasir Ris by the means of the TPE, and right downwards towards this entire enclave is where you have a huge cluster of HDBs. Some of them have actually reached its MOP largely towards the Tampines Greenwich location. And of course, down towards this side would then be Tampines Central, the Tampines Corridor Condo. And the thing that we want to capture your attention is, of course, this entire enclave, which is going to be the Paya Lebar Air Base. And that will be slated to be vacated by about the year 2030. So what we're going to have over there is going to be huge transformation, and I think this is going to shape you in terms of how will your potential exit plan be like. And this is a glimpse of the location. Of course, you're also being served very well by the MRT station, but if you dive deeper in, you'll notice that you even have pockets of space. So of course, if you were to zoom a little bit deeper, you have Tenet right over here, and then this is basically walking distance towards the Tampines North MRT station, which is going to be on the Cross Island line. And you have pockets of space over here. This will be Parktown. This over here will then be the future residential plot. So there's going to be lots of exciting rejuvenation in and around this area. And I think this is an exciting place to be in. Of course, buyers that are buying towards Tampines area, they all love the Tampines vicinity because of all the amenities in a mature estate. Basically, you're within a 5 minutes walking distance to MRT station, towards the bus interchange, towards community center, towards hawker center. But most importantly, you have this Tampines North MRT station that is on the Cross Island line that is going to bring you all the way down towards Hougang, Ang Mo Kio, and Bright Hill in 2, 5, 7 stops respectively. On the other side, one stop that brings you towards Tampines. And of course, after that, you can also go in towards the East-West line. So it's great connectivity, spurred largely by the fact that you have a Cross Island line that is just right at the doorstep. Let us take a look at the unit distribution. You have only 3, 4, and 5 bedders. So again, ECs, they usually do not have 1 and 2 bedders. So these are 3, 4, and 5 bedders. Majority, about 500 units consisting to 3 bedders, with the minority being the 28 units for the 5 bedrooms. So total number of units are 760 units, with majority being a 3 bedder and the minority being the 5 bedder. Of course, with the dive deeper, 3 bedder, it consists of 3 bedder compact all the way towards a 3 bedder study. And for 4 bedrooms, there are 3 different types, and 5 bedroom, there's only 1 single type. We're going to dive deeper in terms of the floor plan. Let's take a look at the orientation of the site plan. So the first thing that we want to take a look at is the TPE, because this will be the expressway. But of course, I think what the developer have done, really, developer is Simlian. So Simlian is a brand that is well known in the local market. They have developed a few projects in the vicinity, such as Treasure at Tampines, which performed extremely well. Emerald of Katong, 90% sold in the first day. So this is a very reputable developer that we are talking about. And in the past performance, it's been extremely well. So TP is right over here. So what they have done is, of course, with the green buffer and all these facility zone that is all bounded, all at the boundary of the project, which also give rise to a bit of buffer in terms of the road noise. Towards here would then be Tenet EC. So Tenet EC will be right over at this zone. So of course, when we talk about Tenet EC, this is in an area where this project is having a story of about 15 stories. So why that is important is because you want to be able to know what is the facing that is towards here, which will largely be facing towards Tenet EC that is standing at 15 stories high. So some of the pockets of space that you might have will then be over here, where you have a bigger distance towards here. This will then be the entire HDB cluster that is right opposite, which is hovering at about 15 stories. So you're being segregated by this small road, and this gives you a bit of distance as well as privacy shooting from here towards the HDBs. And this entire site is currently being zoned as residential. We do not know what is being planned for. In my opinion, I think if you want to know kind of where is the best kind of stack of view, we want to look at the biggest unit, which is the 5-bedder that is located right over here. 5-bedder only consists of 2 stacks. They are located towards the corner just so that they have a bigger opening towards the outside of the development. Otherwise, if you want to have a bigger and open space, it will largely be towards this zone where you have a good distance away. This area will then be an unknown because we do not know what is located right over here. In my opinion, I think the entire project is quite well spaced out with facility zone between the blocks to give rise to a certain level of privacy. But of course, if let's say you're going for something that's inner facing, you might not need to go for very high because your views might not change too much unless you're at the top floor where you get more lights coming into the overall unit. So have a mixture of 3, 4, and 5 bedders. For the 3 bedders, they are all considered all the light greens, which are segregated largely towards the center of the project. And then you have the pool, you have the tennis court right over here. Ingress and egress is all towards this location. So you have a very nice project surrounding that is filled with lots of facilities. So you have a total of 3 function rooms. So 3 function rooms, I think is good enough for a size of 760 units. And I believe the function room will be hotly anticipated and it's going to be hotly booked. So you have all these facilities right over here. So I would say it's a facilities area whereby it is going to be very popular for kids. So for your family, if you're buying for own stay, of course, you have a wide variety of 3, 4, as well as 5 bedders. Facilities is pretty decent. So you have a mixture of greeneries to waters to tennis courts. And I think this is probably an area that you and your family can enjoy in the next 8 to 10 years. Let us take a look at what is happening in and around here first. So again, those that are highlighted in the reds that are all zoned as residential, which is going to be future sites that are coming up. Mixture of HDBs as well as condos, which also means there's going to be more rejuvenation in the area, with Parktown potentially being the one that will set the benchmark purely because that is an integrated development, and integrated developments always command a premium, which also means that you have added convenience as well as amenities, shopping malls that is just right at your doorstep. What is going to happen right towards the south of Tampines is Tampines West. Of course, Tampines West is also going to be an area that is going through rejuvenation. These 2 zones, which is currently being zoned as residential, with one of them being integrated, as well as these potential areas. So again, when we talk about Tampines, Tampines is an area that is hugely in high demand. And if you take a look at the kind of performance in the Tampines area, they are all performing very well because they are largely supported by all the HDB upgraders. And when you talk about HDB upgraders, typically they form about 60+% of HDB, of the condo buyers that might want to buy into the private property or to an EC that has reached its MOP. So I think in terms of the HDB upgraders, you have more than sufficient to meet the kind of supply of a private property or EC right over here in Tampines. Let us take a look at the floor plan. And first up, we have the 3-bedder that is of a compact version. But do take note that all the bedroom types come with their own utility. And for this case, it is in the version of a home shelter. So you have a good spacing in terms of your living bedroom. Bedrooms can all fit a queen size. So that is a typical type of configuration that we are seeing today. Now, what we want to bring to your attention is on this AC latch, which is non-strata, which also means that the current floor plan for Aurelle is going to be harmonized, which also means that the PSF will be slightly higher, but we're going to take a look at the overall price quantum first. All 3 bedrooms, you're able to fit in minimally a queen size, 9 square meter for the common bedrooms, 12 square meter for the master bedroom. Of course, this dimension is approximate as of today. The good thing is all the bedroom type, you have a home shelter, which is fantastic. That also means that you can allow your family to grow with time. The largest difference between this layout and the other layout is the size of the kitchen, which is on the slightly smaller side. So this might be very suitable for family that don't really cook. And I would imagine you might not want to cook because you have all the amenities just right at the doorstep. And if you are budget constrained, you want to go for something that fulfills the number of bedrooms that is allowing you to be able to at least fit in a queen size, yet you want to have a home shelter as part of your storage, and you're not someone that hosts a lot, you don't cook a lot, you might want to go for this option, which is 840 square feet. I would say the layout is fantastic. The developer has planned in such a way that you have almost everything that you need. Most importantly, a lot of HDB upgraders, they are looking for a unit when they want to upgrade to at least have a storage space, which this development gives you. Now the next layout, which is a show flat layout, is at 872 square feet. The largest difference is lying in the fact that you have a slightly bigger kitchen, which is right over here. So your dining space is also wider. So if you're someone that really hosts a little bit, you want to have a bigger kitchen, you want to have your yard area as well as your WC, you might want to go for this at a slightly bigger size. And later on, we're going to take a look at the price quantum. So I would say this will be something that's, if you're a family that really wants to have the space, if you are someone that really wants to have a bit of hosting space, you want to cook a fair bit, you might want to go for these layouts. Generally, I think this layout is pretty good. 2.8 meters wall to wall in the living hall, I think is pretty decent. Let's take a look at the 3+ study. Now, the largest difference in terms of the 3+ study and the 3-bedder is again the study area. Study area is just right over here. You have a window right over at this width. So as opposed to the older days of design whereby the study do not have a window, this study comes with a window, bathroom comes with window. So this is almost everything that you need at only 926 square feet. So why the size is important? Because it also translates to the overall quantum, which will then position yourself as the seller when you want to exit 8 years down the road, factoring in about 3 to 4 years time of construction as well as 5 years of MOP. So I would say this overall size is pretty good. Bedroom size are very similar as well as identical to the one that is at the compact version. This 3+ study, on the other hand, the size that varies the most is the study being 1 square meter bigger. So this can form a flexi room. I would imagine if, let's say, you and your family, if you were to expand in terms of a family, and if you want to be able to stay here because of the schools, because of the connectivity, the proximity to your family members, you might want to consider this unit at 947Y because you have a slightly bigger study. This study allows you, for example, if you have a live-in helper, your helper can stay over here that comes with window. If you eventually wish to evolve to the stage whereby your kids want to have a proper study area, they can use this. This can be a drums room, this can be a piano room, this can be a flexi room, this can be added on as an additional storage. I think the flexibility is great. You can potentially use this as one of the areas that you and your family are planning to expand. So very sizable kitchen as well as dining. So this will fit in very well if you're someone that enjoy hosting, you want to have a slightly bigger space for your family as well as a study as your family evolve along the way. So that is all the type of different layouts in terms of a 3-bedder. And just to give you a recap, we have a 3-bedder compact. All 3 bedrooms are of a similar size. The only difference is that for the 3-bedder, you do not have any yard or WC. Perfect for small family that don't host a lot. And of course, once we move on towards the bigger size, which is a 3-bedder premium, 872 square feet, all the bedrooms are the same, kitchen being slightly bigger. And as we move on to the 3+ study, 2 different layout with the study, one of the study being slightly bigger between the 926 as well as the 947 square feet. Let us take a look at the 4-bedder compact. Now for the 4-bedder compact, I would say the bedroom size are pretty decent, 9, 9, and 13. So this is slightly bigger than the 3-bedder layout. The 4th bedroom, however, is on a slightly smaller side. You might have to push the bedroom towards the window that is leaning towards the wall. Bathroom are fantastic in terms of the size. You have a bigger space in terms of a living dining. This is 3.1 meters as opposed to the 3-bedder that is at 2.8 meters. So it's about 30 cm more and a bigger dining area. So it can accommodate your growing family needs. And of course, you have naturally a bigger kitchen as well as a yard and WC. So if you're someone that really want to future-proof, you want to have additional bedroom, you might want to go for this 1023. I would say between 1023 and this one at 947 square feet, the difference is pretty noticeable in terms of the additional bedroom. Of course, if let's say you do not need this additional bedroom for now, what you can do is you can just utilize this as additional like study area. If let's say you have a plan that you're going to stay here for long, you want to expand your family, then this bedroom might come in handy. We'll also talk a little bit in terms of the exit strategy moving forward. Now, the biggest difference between a 4-bedroom compact and a 4-bedroom flexi is noticeably the living hall area. So this is of a wider span layout. Again, this is a crowd favorite because the way they do it in this design is that you have a wide span layout, which allows you to have the dining right over here, or you can have the dining right over at this section, and you can have a kind of landscape layout. On the other hand, this also gives rise to a slightly bigger balcony because it spans across the entire width of the living hall. So I would say this gives rise to a lot of flexibility. Eventually, you can position this property as a 4-bedder plus a study, whereby you can carve out this space and then you can angle this as an additional study area when you want to hit towards the resale market. But of course, the 4-bedroom is also of the same size, which is the 8 square meter. Kitchen yard area is slightly bigger, so you have a decent space. Why the yard is so important is also because if you can do any laundry right over here, you can free up the space towards your balcony, leveraging on the big balcony space for you and your family to enjoy the lush lounge over here, or for your kids to play over here. This is a decent space, 1206 square feet. So I would say this space allows you to grow with your family. Now for 4-bedroom flexi, there are two different layouts. One is this one that we talked about, which is 1206 square feet, and the other one is the 1195 square feet. Now take note that this 1195 square feet, although it is slightly smaller than the 1206, which is on the 4-bedroom flexi, that is a difference of close to about 10 square feet. But what you get here is a slightly bigger bedroom. So the previous one is at 8 square meter. This is at 9 square meter. So if you're someone that really wants to have a decent space in terms of the bedroom, I would say 8 square meter is good enough. But if you want something that's 9 square meter, you want to have space on both the left and right, you might want to go for this. Of course, kitchen is slightly smaller. So the difference in terms of the size is slightly smaller kitchen, but you have a bigger bedroom that is on the 4th bedroom. Similarly, wide span layout. So I personally is a fan of wide span layout. So if you're someone that loves a wide span layout, you might want to go for this type of configuration. Moving on to the last 4-bedroom configuration. This is, of course, a very sizable space. So you have similarly a wide span kind of layout, and then you have 4 bedrooms right over here, 9 square meters. And I would say the space is pretty well planned out. This is similarly also at 1206 square feet. And last but not least, as we move on to the 5-bedder, which is the biggest of all, wide span layout again, and all the bedrooms are all towards here and 1 bedroom towards this side. So it saves a little bit in terms of the walking space. 9 square meters for all the common bedrooms, with the exception of the 3rd bedroom being 8 square meter, which is just right over here. And your master is slightly bigger at 13 square meter. So for this one, you have a junior bath that is for this junior master. And then 3 other bedrooms are sharing this one common bathroom. So all the bathroom have windows that is ventilated towards here, with the master towards this side. And then you have a very good size, kitchen that consists of a wet and dry kitchen, home shelter, and your yard is all over here. So this is naturally the biggest of all. So if you're someone that really wants a big space, which is very rare because you only have 2 sets, then I think very limited options. Of course, the price list is not out yet, but we're going to just do some estimation in terms of the price point. Usually what we do is we want to do kind of like what we call a price matrix, with this one being the PSF hovering between 1,006 to 1,850 per square feet. So that's going to be a ballpark price figure, and we're going to multiply across all the bedroom types. Just a small little summary just right over here, just for your reading pleasure. So if you want to take a look at this price point, lower starting from should be in the price range of about $1.3 million to about 1.4. That is usually reserved for the 840 square feet, which is on the lower side. So again, this is on a indicative pricing. Price will change. These are just purely based on our estimates. Depending on how the response is going to be like, I believe the response will be pretty good. So 1.3 or plus $1 million all the way towards maybe a high $2 over $1 million for a 5 beta. The thing that we want to take note of is when you're buying an EC, you're subjected to MSR, which is also meaning that you're only allowed to recognize 30% of the income and borrowing up to 25 years of loan tenure. So based on that, if you are already capped at an income ceiling of 16K, which is an income ceiling cap of EC criteria, of course, you still have to fulfill the EC eligibility criteria. If you have further questions, always feel free to reach out to us. What this arrives you to is about $900 over $1,000, which also means that you can buy close to about 1.2 odd range of quantum. What that means is if you are buying something more, you will either, number one, have to down pay more. So because of the restriction in terms of the MSR as well as the income cap at 16,000, you can only buy up to about 1.2 odd plus million dollars range. And if you want to buy something more, you have to either down pay more. So the down payment will increase. Number two is otherwise you can always stick to the 25%, but going by a combination of either pledging or showing of funds. This figure again is for illustration and calculation purpose. Again, do your due diligence, get in touch with your banker, have the IPA ready, and ascertain the amount of budget as well as funds that you need in order to purchase anything that is on a higher quantum. Say for example, if you want to buy something that's $1.6 million range, it will typically range towards this side, which is all the way towards here. So this is largely about the $1.6 million kind of price range, which also means that you have to either pledge close to about 130 over 1,000, or you might have to show funds, which is going to be in the range of about 450 over $1,000, or if you are going into the pledging, then that will be in the range of about about 130 over $1,000. So again, depending on the quantum that you are going for, these are just some of the illustration, 1.6 all the way to 2 million. This will then be at about $2.5 million. If you're intending to leverage 75%. So again, you can either go by a combination of down paying more because of the limitation of the MSR as well as the 16K income, or what you can do is you can do a combination of showing of funds or pledging. So speak to your bankers first. And again, these are part of the policies in terms of the HDB, in terms of the ECs that are governed by HDBs. Again, all these are for prudency. So you might want to take a closer look in terms of how you want to go about financing your EC's purchase, especially for Aurelle at Tampines. So I would say the price range is pretty decent. Again, this PSF is on the harmonized PSF rate, so it might differ a little bit comparing to some of the neighbors at Tenet. But one thing to take note of is that the Parktown is also going to be harmonized floor plan. So what we're going to do is to see and to understand how the pricing for Aurelle stack against your other competitors, which is in the surrounding. So what we want to take a closer look at is Tenet, which is just right beside. And of course, Tenet was launched previously. So we're going to take a look at the pricing for Tenet first. So Tenet is just right next door. So naturally, when you're thinking of selling in the future, Tenet will naturally form as part of your competitors as well as your buyers pool. So indicative price over here is at about 1,532. So that's the average price transacted. Of course, take note that this is on a non-harmonized. So if you were to harmonize it, this will be in the price range of about 1,600 PSF. Of course, this is on the 2023 prices. And if you take a look at some of the prices over here, some of the price range about 1,004, 1,003, and as a trend towards the newer sale, which happens just lately, that is all trending towards 1,005, with one of the highest at about 1,600 plus range. So 1,600 plus range for a non-harmonized PSF. So that's just to give you some indication. Of course, the prices have increased from launch, which is a good sign. So this also allows you to give you a kind of glimpse in terms of your exit, because if Tenet is hovering at about 1,600 plus PSF on a harmonized kind of price range, entry-wise in terms of Aurelle, in today's pricing, I think it makes absolute sense if you're entering at about 1,600 to 1,700 PSF. So this is purely comparing to Tenet, if you are comparing side by side. Naturally, what we want to be taking a look at will then be Parktown, where Parktown is just right beside. So if you will take a look at Parktown, Parktown of course is going to be launching pretty soon by the time you see this video. So Parktown is just right over here. which is at this particular zone. So Parktown is going to be integrated. Firstly, integrated is definitely going to cost a premium because of its convenience that is linking towards the mall. So firstly, you have the mall. Secondly, you have the MRT. You have the bus interchange. All this is all congregated into one. So naturally, you'll be commanding a price premium. So this is very similar to what we have at Pasir Ris 8. So you have Pasir Ris 8. You have Woodley Residences, you have Sengkang Grand Residences. So all these are integrated in nature, and again, integrated are so rare to come by. So what you have right over here is definitely going to be costing at a premium. But of course, this is a different product because this is an EC and this is a private condo development. So in terms of a holding period, how this is going to be like is, we are in the year 2025. When we talk about Parktown, their SSD will end in about 2028, and that will be the time that they can sell. Assuming you can achieve your TOP for Aurelle in the year about 2028 to 2029, you have to hold on for additional 5 years. That will be 2034. So between 2034 to 2025, you have a holding period of close to about 9 years. At that point of time, 2034, when you want to exit, you have a few price jump from the neighbors. Now, firstly, Parktown would have already reached its resale, and potentially some of the buyers might have already flipped 2 rounds, because if they were to exit at 2028 to 2029, and then they were to hold on, say, for another 3 or 4 years, they will be exiting again round 2 of Parktown. So this will be Parktown round 1, this will be Parktown round 2. So that in itself will then naturally push up the overall pricing in and around the area, allowing you at Aurelle to exit. And of course, once you exit at that point of time, I think a lot of things would have happened, because your Cross Island line would have already been operational. That's number 1. So your Cross Island line would have been operational, number 1. Number 2, your Paya Lebar Air Base, which is on this side, would have already have at least the blueprint or the master plan would have already evolved, because you're talking about 9 years later. Master plan changes every 5 to 6 years. So we are in 2025. By the time we reach us about 2030, another round of master plan would have already evolved, and Paya Lebar Air Base would more or less have an indication of how the area is going to be transforming, which again, we are in close proximity with. So that in itself will also boost a kind of rejuvenation in and around this area. So I'm pretty confident at this current entry price, especially when in the OCR areas such as Norwood Grand at Woodlands have already hit about 1,008, 1,009 PSF. I think for this pricing, it makes absolute sense. Of course, you still have to make sure that you fulfill the EC eligibility criteria. Most importantly of all, you have all these HDB upgraders, and you have future plots that's going to be coming up in the immediate vicinity. So I would say this Tampines town itself is naturally self-sufficient, because let us take a look at Tenet. Who are the bulk of the buyers that are buying into Tenet? And I think as expected, majority of them are HDBs. The rest private are probably downgraders that have already waited out quite a good few period before they can buy into Tenet EC. So majority of them are the HDB upgraders, and the beauty of it all is HDB upgraders, you can have a ready pool of buyers, especially when the floor plan is so efficiently planned out. So I would say you have a very steady pool of buyers coming in from this area that are naturally self-sufficient. So let us take a look at the site plan and kind of give you an indication of where we think is a better kind of stack. If today you're thinking of someone that's, hey, I want to buy for own stay, my holding period is something going to be like longer term. Naturally, I want to go for something that is of a slightly better view. In my opinion, I think if you want to go for something that is having a bit of opening, you might want to go for these few stacks. But of course, this side is closer towards the expressway, so you might want to be mindful of a bit of the road noise. But I think this also means that you have a nicer and clearer view towards the side. So if you're not so noise sensitive, given the fact that there is already some buffer from the expressway, especially some facility zone, I think this side is still okay. This area would always be an unknown, because I'm not sure what is going to be the residential developments right over here, but it will be a residential development. I just do not know how far it is. But naturally, on the developer's perspective, when they were to bid for this land, in order to make sure that they can sell well, they will also want to ensure that there is a certain buffer from the site, So there might be a good distance from here. And I might say, I want to go for the external facing. But naturally, how the developers will price it is that external facing, currently, if let's say it's unblocked, they will price it higher compared to internal facing. So you still have to do your pricing disparity to ensure that the stack that you're buying into is not something that's overly higher price point. These few stacks are naturally a lot better because you're fronting towards here. But of course, take note that these are the play area, so you do get some noise coming from the facilities area. If you do not mind fronting towards this side because of the road, I think this is a small road, so that's fine. I don't think it's going to be a noisy road, so you might want to go for this. Facing towards the HDB, there's no point for you to go for something that's high because this HDB is 15 stories high. And for you to cross the HDBs, because the HDBs usually they have water tank right above, you need to be above level 15. But for Aurelle, the highest floor level is only at level 14, so there's no point for you to go so high. You might just want to go for something that's mid-floor, which still allows you to exit comfortably. If you want something that's a 4-beta premium, you might want to go for this because the distance is bigger. It opens up towards here, so you might want to go for either stack 3 or stack 2. Just need to take note that this one, you're fronting towards Tenet, which again, higher story is at level 15. So I would say all in the space is pretty much well planned out. This is very similar to one of the projects that I saw, which is Visionaire, which is also quite similar. Internal stacks all sell pretty well, so I wouldn't say that there's going to be a huge major obstacle when it comes to selling in the resale market, even though they are internal facing. So this is quite similar to projects like Visionaire, to projects like Bellwoods, which is also in terms of the overall site plan layout is quite similar. So if again you want to go for something that's of an unblocked view, then you might want to go for this. But pretty sure that the price premium will be priced in for this particular stack that is having this open facing compared to the stacks that are on the internal side. So again, depending on your queue number and how you strategize it. So if you want to kind of do some analysis in terms of the pricing for various stacks, then of course you can always feel free to reach out to us. We'll help you to dissect in terms of how your entry price should be. So let us take a circle in terms of, in our opinion, which one is the best stack for a 3-beta compact. So 3-beta compact, my personal opinion is I will go for stack 44. If you're not pantang about number 44, you can always go for this one because this is on a stack that is having a clear view that is opening towards here. If you want a bit of a slight block and slight open view, you can go for stack 40 because it still opens up towards here. Stack 48 opens up towards here, but you might be mindful of the road noise. Otherwise, I would say this will be the few stacks that I would personally recommend to our clients if they were to go for the 3-beta compact. Again, this is from the resale kind of perspective that I'm looking out at. Stack 12 and 9 is also another consideration. So 5 stacks for you to choose from if you have a pretty good solid queue number that you want to go for. The next thing that we want to take a look at is the 3-beta premium. So 3-beta premium would then be the light green ones. So this will be the 3-beta premium that is towards here. I do not know what is facing right in front of me, but if I want to have a better kind of certainty, I might say that I want to go for this one because I will know that my view towards here is definitely clear. I might want to go for this depending on how far am I towards Tenet. And again, if let's say I want to have a bit of privacy, I might want to go for this one because I would then have the opening towards this view and giving myself a bit of a bet that I will have a better buffer from the other projects on the other side. So this will be the projects and the stacks that I'll be going for. But if let's say you're someone that wants to go for something that is like internal facing, then you might want to go for stack 24 and 19 that is on the inner stack. 34, 33 and 38 is also okay because the distance is pretty decent. So that will be for the 3-beta plus 3-beta premium. The next thing that we want to look at is the 3 plus study, which is the one that is darker green. So I'll personally go for stack 47 and 43. These are the clear winner, but of course they will be priced slightly higher. The rest are all internal stacks, so in my opinion, I don't think there's going to be much of a difference. But if I again want to have a bit of opening, I might want to go for stack number 11 because of this opening towards this side. Let us go to a 4-bedder compact, between the 4-bedder compact. Now, before we go into the 4-bedder compact, again, I want to bring your attention towards this floor plan first, because there is actually a difference between a 4-bedder compact as well as a 4-bedder flexi and a 4-bedder premium. If today I get to choose, and if I'm in your shoes, I'll say that, okay, I want to go for a 4-bedder. Should I go for a 4-bedder compact at 1023 square feet? There's this one. I have all the 4 bedrooms, but the 4th bedroom is slightly smaller. Or should I be going for a 4-bedroom flexi, but I will need to top up quite a substantial amount that is close to about 180 over square feet to go for a 4-bedroom flexi? If you just want to have a pure 4-bedder, you do not need a wide span layout, you can just go for this, because I think this one will win in terms of the overall price quantum. But if you want to buy into a layout that gives you more flexibility, then you might want to go for 4-bedroom flexi or the 4-bedder premium. Now, between the 4-bedroom premium and the 4-bedroom flexi, internally, I think within PLB, we have already done our research, and we have our own best kind of approach in terms of the 4-bedroom. We have the best stack that we want to go for in terms of the entry, and in terms of the exit. I think it stands a very good moat when you want to buy and when you don't sell. So if you want to find out which stack is the one that we really will recommend, especially between a 4-bedroom flexi and 4-bedroom premium, you can always feel free to get in touch with us. And I think this will potentially give rise to a better exit in terms of your future when you want to exit very comfortably in terms of the asset progression. We have actually done a search in terms of the entry price, so I think this is a clear-cut winner. We're going to leave it down with us, and you can always get in touch with us. And last but not least, the 5-bedroom. Of course, 5-bedroom I think is a no-brainer. There's only 2 stacks, which is very rare. So again, if you were to take a look at the number of bedrooms, if today you have the budget to allow you to go for a 4-bedroom, I think you might want to go for a 4-bedroom, because 4-bedroom is not something that is very common. It's only at 232 units. It's considered quite rare. Quantum-wise, it is something that's still palatable, because if you were to take a look at the price quantum, right over here, if you were to take a look at the price quantum, for a 4-bedroom, it ranges between the price point of potentially about 1.7 plus to about $2.1 million. If you are someone that is a bit wanting to cut down in terms of your price limit, you might want to just go for this one. And I would say entry price is pretty decent if they are going to be launching at this price range. Of course, anything higher will then have to readjust in terms of your finances. But I would say 1.7 plus to $1.8 million is something that is very attractive, because if you were to take a look at the resale prices now in and around the Tampines area, especially something that's close to MRT station, you're hovering at a price range of about $2.2 to $2.3 million in the resale market. Of course, those are the larger type of floor plates. So I would say the entry price is very good for this $1.7 to $1.8 million, slightly smaller 4th bedroom. So entry-wise, I think is pretty good if you want to go for something this price range that allows you to stretch in terms of showing your funds as well as pledging. Then you might want to go for the 4-bedroom, given that this is slightly rarer in terms of the overall number of units choices. With that, we've come to the end of our new launch review at Aurelle, and just to give you a quick recap, walking distance to the MRT station, you have lots of rejuvenation happening in and around the area. TOP in the range of about 2028 to 2029, holding for another 5 more years to reach its MOP. You have to fulfill the EC eligibility criteria capped by 16,000 income ceiling, developed by Simlian, 760 units. Altogether, you have a combination of 3, 4, as well as 5 bedrooms. Size-wise is pretty good, harmonized floor plan, so very well and very efficiently planned out. You have the Cross Island Line that will be operational by about 2030 to 2031. Paya Lebar Air Base transformation is taking shape just right over here. So I would say it's a very exciting area. You naturally will have competition coming from Tenet, coming from the other resale market that is happening in and around this area. But if you want to buy into this Aurelle EC, you want to kind of know what is my strongest exit, which are the unit types to choose, which are the value proposition, how is my exit going to be like, how is my exit plan going to be like in terms of the price point, and what you can do upon MOP, feel free to get in touch with our listing team. We're happy to help you to break it down and to help you to plan out in terms of your purchase, which you need to go for and which one gives you the best and strongest exit point. And once again, Aurelle at Tampines, if you want to find out more, do feel free to get in touch with our team, and I'll see you in the next episode.